The California market, it's unique, it's competitive, and it's full of opportunities, but only when you know how to play it right. So today, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide so you move from uncertainty to confidence. Let's do this. Let's start with where every smart move begins, your finances. Because before you start house hunting, you need to know what the lender is going to look for. The lender actually evaluates you based on four main factors, which we call 4 C's: credit, capacity, capital, and collateral. Credit. This is your credibility. What the lender wants, they want low utilization. They want consistent payments on your credit accounts. And they want a favorable credit score, of course. They're going to go through your credit score to look for any red flags like bankruptcies or collections. What you can do today, you can start making payments on your credit accounts even before the statement gets ready. Yes, even before the statement gets ready. Now, what does this do? This will show a low utilization on your credit account, on your credit report, and will also raise your credit score. Second, capacity. This is your income and your capacity to pay the debts. The comparison. They compare it through a ratio called debt to income ratio. We call it DTI. What you can do today, you can increase your income or you can decrease your debts by paying off your debts. If you have a job or any employment history for a long period of time, that also shows stability and reliability, and it makes your file stronger. Now, the third, capital. Capital is your skin in the game. You don't really need 20%, the popular myth in real estate, for a down payment. But the higher the down payment, the lower will be your mortgage payments. So maybe you can start putting the money in your at least high yield saving account starting today. So you will accumulate some kind of money on your down payment rather than leaving it in the bank at 0.01%. My goodness. Okay, the fourth, collateral. Like we go and get a auto loan, the car is the collateral. And over here for a mortgage, the home is the collateral. So the higher the value of the collateral and the lower the loan, the happier the lender is. You might have heard buy low, sell high. So this is what we are looking at right now. Sell high, buy low. So if you buy for a price lower than what the market price is, that shows the collateral to be a good investment for the lender. When you understand all those 4 C's before going into the market, you can make your file stronger by working on those 4 C's from today. Let's address this confusion of pre-qualification versus pre-approval. Now, pre-qualification, nothing is verified. You just give lender some info about your credit, your debt, your income, and they give you a rough estimate of what you might qualify for. That's the letter of pre-qualification. Now we have pre-approval. In pre-approval, the lender actually verifies through the documentation of your credit history, your assets, your income, your debts, your employment history. Yes, and that's when you get pre-approval letter. A pre-approval letter gives seller way more confidence than the pre-qualification. Then there is desktop underwritten approval, which is DU approval. DU approval, your file actually goes through the underwriter. Yes, your entire file. So now this is as good as cash. So when you make an offer with the DU approval, there are a couple of benefits. First, your escrow can be way shorter because you have already spent the time that it needed for the underwriters to go through your file. You have already done that. So your now escrow can be 17 days rather than 25 to 30 days. Yes. And it shows seller way more confidence, even more than the pre-approval. When you are in California market, which is so competitive, when you set your budget, always remember there are few areas where you might have special assessments when you have mellow rules. So the California tax rate goes around 1.13%, but you also have to count these special assessments and mellow rules. I always tell my clients, don't go by what you can afford according to the lender. Rather, go by what you can happily afford according to your budget. That's what matters more. Once you're financially pre approved or due approved, whatever you are going for, then it's the time for house hunting. We go out, we look at the houses, but don't get overwhelmed. What you can do over here, focus on location, where you want to be. Focus on lifestyle fit. What kind of lifestyle do you want? Do you want a busy city like Anaheim, where the complex, the shopping is so many times just around the corner? If you go Irvine, you might have to go drive a mile. There is a difference of lifestyle fit. Living in a community or living in the old houses, the ranch houses, the bigger lot, the condos, the townhomes. What's your criteria? How you would imagine your future? Focus on that. Write that down and then start the house hunting. When you're ready to make an offer, I make a call to the listing agent and find out what's important to the seller. Why is the seller moving? What's the timeline that he or she would like? Or maybe they want some days after closing the escrow, some days to stay in to pack up, or maybe close the escrow on the replacement property. Whatever the scenario is, what we would like you to stand out. Once your offer is accepted, we open an escrow. Now, escrow is a third party which is neutral. It's not in the favor of buyer, it's not working for buyer, it's not working for seller. It's a neutral third party that holds the documents and the money until all the obligations have been met by the buyer and the seller. Now, once the escrow opens, the first thing that you gotta do, you deposit an earnest money deposit, an EMD, which is anywhere from 1 to 3% of the price. Now, this money is applied towards your down payment and the closing cost at the end. And it's totally refundable if you back out anywhere in the escrow within the contingency period. Now, in California, we have three contingencies to protect you as a buyer: loan contingency, inspection contingency, and appraisal contingency. Let's talk about the inspection contingency first. This is not just the inspection of the house, it's the inspection of the neighborhood. Maybe you are concerned about the crime history, maybe you are concerned about the schools, maybe you are concerned about the house from inside, the structure. So you get this time period of inspection contingency, normally anywhere from 10 to 17 days, and you do the inspection of the entire house. And this is also the time period where you ask the seller if you want any credits or repairs done for those inspection repairs or whatever you found out in the inspection report for the house. If you want them to be addressed by the seller through any credits or the price reduction or the repairs done by him, this is your time. Now, the second is the loan contingency. Now, let's say you have the pre approval. So, your credit, your assets have already gone over by the lender. But now the underwriter has to go through your file. They will verify your employment. And along with that, the lender also has to go over the appraisal and the title. So, this is your loan contingency. Sometimes the rates go up or down. Let's say you haven't locked down your interest rate, then maybe your affordability has decreased and you can't afford the house anymore. So, this is your time period. You can still back out. Now, the third one is appraisal contingency. So, here's the deal: lender will not give you a loan for a price higher than the appraisal value. So, let's say you are making a purchase of 600,000 and the appraisal came out at 550,000. Now the lender will only approve the loan for up to 550,000. So what's your option right now? You have a couple of options. So first, Again, this is your negotiation period. So you negotiate with the seller, hey, the appraisal is at 550, so let's renegotiate the price and you sell me the house for 550. If not, you will have to come up with that $50,000 out of your pocket. Yes, that will come out of your pocket other than the down payment and the closing cost. This is totally separate. So the appraisal contingency, if you don't want to go beyond above the appraisal value, then this is your time to back out. So after all the contingencies have met, you sign a contingency waiver. Yes, I remove and waive all the contingencies. Now the next will be final walkthrough, which is mostly within the last 3 days. So 3 days before the closing, that's when we do the final walkthrough. So the whole idea is buyer wants to make sure that the house is still in the same condition that it was when they made an offer. And along with that, if you ask the seller to make any kinds of repairs, this is the time you want to make sure all those repairs have been done and have been done correctly. So after the final walkthrough, this is your time to deposit, to wire to the escrow your rest of the down payment and your closing costs. And then the loan will be funded after you sign your loan docs. Now, once the title records the deed with the county, the happiest moment comes to life. You get the keys, which is actually my happiest moment in my career. I love that moment when I give out the keys to the buyer. This is my favorite one so far. All this information, this might be overwhelming, but don't let it make it stressful. All you need is a roadmap, a clear step-by-step guide which is made according to your timeline and your goals. So reach out to me, click the link in the description for a free consultation, and let's talk strategy. Let's talk the right guide for you. And don't forget to save this video so you can come back to it when you're ready.